by default, once more, due to the way that we're conditioned, we will tune into failures and give failures a lot more importance than wins in our life. Okay, when we succeed at something, it's kind of like, well, yeah, of course, okay, I succeeded. And as soon as we fail at something, we loop on it, we self-attack, we make it this huge deal, and that's just how it works. To the point where a lot of people, if you ask them, so, what are some of your wins recently? What are some of your successes recently? What are you proud of? They can't answer it. Okay, they haven't been collecting them, and they're not riding that wave of momentum. So here's one thing that I had going for me back in the day. Okay, this is one of those unfair advantages. There wasn't this thing called social media. Okay, yes, there was the internet, and there were these forums. It was like V-Bulletin forums, like text forums only. And then, of course, you could do some photos, but that's all there was. Okay, there wasn't this thing called social media. There wasn't this abundance or overabundance of information. And not just that, but the bar was a lot lower. Okay, so here's what happened in my journey. I never, or I don't want to say never, I rarely compared myself to other people. I didn't want to make any unfair comparisons. And I, most of the time, again, of course, every now and then I'm like comparing myself to others, but most of the time, I would only compare myself to the previous version of me. Not someone else, but old me. Me from even a second ago. And if I noticed the progress there, I would collect that win and I would celebrate. And what happened is there was this wave, this momentum that built. Okay, now people never compare themselves to their previous version of who they are. They're always looking at others through social media, and the bar is way too high. Okay, so let me take this example of social skills. I discovered this whole self-help world reading a book about social skills. It was a book, funny enough, called The Game, okay, back in 2006. Found out about it through a musician's blog of this band called Jimmy Eat World. And the singer, the lead singer, Jim Adkins, had this blog post with his favorite movies and books. And I think as a joke, he put that book, The Game, in there. And I randomly decided, you know what? It's 2006 now. It's time for me to read more and be a smarter human being. And I just ordered all the books, right? All the books he put on there, I ordered. Some were really weird. And there was this one called The Game. And I was like, whoa. And that's what opened my mind to self-help, social skills you can actually improve. Okay. So I found out about this book and I read the first chapter. And the whole first chapter is this person who meets a stranger and gets that stranger's phone number to hang out again. That was the whole first chapter. It ends with, here's a napkin with my phone number. And that's the end of chapter 1. Me reading that blew my mind. I was like, oh, and he got the napkin? The napkin with the phone number? Oh, like blew my mind. I was like just blown away just from a napkin with a phone number. And reading that, I was like, man, in my wildest dreams, if I could just get a phone number and a napkin, if I could just get that napkin, my life would be complete. That there is how, you might be hearing this now and be like, oh, just a phone number? That's how low the bar was. Now, what did that mean? Instead of placing the bar so high and anything that doesn't live up to that, I start self-attacking and beating myself up over, I'm like, every little win is great. It's getting me closer to the napkin. So first time I said hi to someone, a stranger, I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. 30 seconds, I celebrated that for days, for weeks. Like, oh my gosh, can you realize I just said hi to someone? This is crazy, right? First time I talked to someone for longer than 2 minutes. Went crazy over that. I was like, I am winning at life, right? I am the master of the universe. That's what I was thinking. And I would just ride all those little wins. Little wins now that people are like, oh, that's nothing. Not for me. Nowadays, once more, the bar is way higher, right? You're hearing that like a phone number on a napkin, lame. What's that? Why would you even celebrate that? But that's what got me to where I am here today. Because by collecting all those little wins, that wave, that momentum, it builds and you just keep on going. People are like, how are you still motivated? That's how. Ride the wave, okay? Now, this doesn't take away from goals. Have big goals, have huge goals, but along the way, collect every little win, no matter how small. And I started going overboard with this to the point where every little thing that I would do would be a win. right? I'd wake up, I'd start brushing my teeth. Brushing my teeth, that's a win. You know, walking down the street, that's a win. I even had a friend who worked with me for a while, and I remember vividly, we were on a plane, and he pulled out his iPad and he started typing, and with every word that he would type, he'd be like, oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, that's like collecting wins as he types in the words correctly, right? It's like, oh yeah, hello, look at me type hello. Oh yeah, right? Like, look at me reading through these comments here. Oh yeah, ride the wave, says Nick. Look at me saying Nick, pronouncing his name perfectly, reading that comment perfectly. Every little win. Lower the bar. Okay? And don't make unfair comparisons, meaning compare yourself to previous you. Hey, you versus yesterday today. Can you read a comment better than yesterday? Yeah, there's a win. And actually take time to celebrate it. Take time to pause and pat yourself on the back. People like cringe when they hear this or even try to do it. They're like, good job, good job. It's like, no, own it. Like, actually celebrate. That's what keeps you going. It's not the self-attack. Okay? And unfair comparisons, meaning don't compare yourself to other people. You're on your own path, your own unique path, unique to you. People are like, I'm behind that person, I'm ahead of that person. You don't know, and you can't compare yourself. They're not you. That's an unfair comparison.